Hello, one all! Do Dr. Stone, Chapter 178, Science Scales Mountains. And first off, I just really have to compliment this color page. It looks so freaking beautiful, you know? Celebrating the start of Season 2. That's just a few weeks away. I'm sure we're all super excited for that. I can't freaking wait. But I do just want to mention something about the other color page as well, because we see Joel being petrified, and the light is blue. I mean, in the anime, it was definitely green. I just double-checked that. So is it blue because it's a smaller range, and when it gets larger, it's green? Does it turn green over time? What exactly is the reasoning behind that? I'm curious. If you have any ideas, please let me know about that down below. But secondly, I think we can all agree this chapter finally confirms that Dr. Chelsea is an evil genius who is secretly controlling all of them from the shadows. I mean, seriously, look at the way she just bluntly asked Luna for her weight. Only a truly evil person would do that. And you know, it's played up as her being super blunt and unable to read the room, but then in the next page, she's very quickly able to realize that Luna has a crush on Senku, and then announces it quite loudly. Oh, I get it, Senku's the dude you're crushing on, Luna. Lovey-dovey stuff is like totes the best. With the page even calling her Chelsea the Blunt as she's screaming this out loud for everyone to hear. Oh, I freaking love it. And then just a few pages later, she breaks Luna's heart in the most cruel way possible with a smile on her face. Oh, that was harsh. That was harsh. And even Jen, the master manipulator, had to compliment her on changing the story, changing the topic so they wouldn't worry about the weight discussion anymore. He's seeing behind her mask. He sees the true evil Dr. Chelsea and she just blows it off. Nope, I was just prying because I felt like it. Clearly, she is a conniving evil genius, a disciple of the Y-Man, a high priestess of his cult. That is the true Dr. Chelsea. Maybe, probably not, but if I am right about this theory down the road, it'll be so freaking amazing. Anyway, yeah, this was not a great chapter for Luna. I mean, this expression she has when Chelsea asks her weight is so utterly devastating. I do love Kohaku. She's like, what's wrong with asking a girl about her weight? I mean, you could interpret that as Kohaku just being a blunt girl, a blunt tomboy, whatever, but let's not forget, she's not from our world. She's from an entirely different culture that is basically no connection to ours. In fact, in Ishigami Village, before Senku arrived, they probably weren't even able to weigh someone to an exact amount. I mean, sure, they could say, that guy's fat, that guy's thin, but the line between that, the actual calculable weight, is not something that would have even existed as a concept for them. So, curious. Anyway, then Luna gives her weight as 90 pounds. She's 5 foot 4 inches and weighs 90 pounds. Yeah, even her own servants have to admit there is a problem with that math right there. She's in fact off by 30 pounds! Who lies about their weight by 30 pounds? That is a lot of weight! That's how much I've lost this year! I mean, seriously, if you're gonna lie, lie small. Say it's 15 pounds, say it's 10 pounds. But if you lie by 30 pounds, even your own people will not back you up on that. And then we get a chance to see the whole confession between Luna and Senku when they start dating. Wow, I mean, I assume Senku is, just lying, saying, okay, we'll date for the sake of, getting her help. But no, his density goes a step beyond that, with him thinking that she's proposing a political marriage to bring their two sides together, seemingly to think that she's some sort of high-ranking princess over there, and that this will stop the fighting between them, that she has servants. What? And quite frankly, the fact that Luna actually believed that she interpreted the confession in that way is just such proof that these two actually belong together, because they are both the most dense people in the entire freaking world. And I do love that Kohaku's like, yeah, I basically assume that's exactly what happened. Carlos and Max are, so relieved, because now maybe they have a chance with Miss Luna, who they are in love with, and who I need a freaking backstory for. Anyway, then Senku invents a scale, which looks like a seesaw, and it's so freaking adorable seeing Suka balancing on it. I freaking love it. They're basically able to figure out how much a kilogram water is, and they can just fill bags with water and use that to weigh everybody. And the series goes an extra step by actually giving us every single character's height and weight. I freaking love that. I freaking love the detail of it, and I kind of just wish, we'd gotten this before. I spent 3 chapters trying to figure out who was on which motorcycle last time, only for them to completely swap teams for all of 2 pages. Oh, I freaking love it. Anyway, so the teams are Francois, Suka, and the Boiler on the first bike, Ukyo, Hyoga, and Katsuki on the second, Carlos, who in fact weighs the exact amount I do. Good for you, Carlos. Zeno and Max on the third bike, and a lot of people are speculating maybe Zeno's going to try and talk them into betraying Senku, turning things around, changing sides, and going to join Stanley, because, they were all part of Zeno's Kingdom of Science in the past, so Maybe he thinks he can win them over. He obviously can't because they are 100% loyal Miss Luna, but he's gonna try, and I'm interested to see that. Jen, Sukasa, and Chelsea, which, curious? What's the deal with Sukasa? I mean, he was shot. You remember that? He was shot by Stanley, and it has not been mentioned since. What's going on with that? Is he wounded? Is he hurt? Is Luna checking on, looking after his injury so he doesn't get infected? What's the deal with that? A lot of questions. The fourth bike is Senku's harem, Taiju, Kohaku, and Luna. And I'm just very excited to see Kohaku and Luna interacting together moving forward, now that Luna realizes that she's not actually dating Senku, and that she has to try harder to win his affection. I mean, Kohaku and Taiju are the two people who know Senku best, so she could definitely have some interesting conversations with both of them. And finally, we have Ryu, Senku, and Chrome on the last bike. Unfortunately, the bikes reach their limit and they're no longer able to make their way up the mountain, which is bad, very, very bad. Especially since Stanley's on his way with the plane, which is also bad. So what is it they're going to do? What exactly is their game plan here? Well, apparently Senku is going to build a ropeway to transport all their luggage and the bikes and themselves, because of course he can. Oh, of course he can. And once again, we have the usual reaction. Jen is shocked, Kasuki is excited even though he has no idea what a ropeway is, and Chelsea's just in it for the lulz, can't wait to try it out, can't wait to see what he does. Just like the evil genius that she is. I'm very curious exactly what he means by a ropeway here. I mean, we see a cable car here, but there's no way in God's green earth that's what Senku is planning on building. They just don't have the resources or anything for that, so maybe something more like, I'm sure Kohaku can make a way up the mountain, so she can put a ropeway in, and they can use that to help pull the bikes and everything up with them. I'm curious about that. Oh, and fun fact, I've actually ridden a cable car just like this in the past. I used it to get to the top of the Swiss Alps, and it was terrifying. It was so utterly, utterly terrifying. They sway way more in the wind than you might expect. Honestly, it was such a terrifying experience. My mother refused to get on it with me. She let me go on it, but she stayed on the ground. Not great mothering right there. Not great mothering. But anyway, back to the start of the chapter. Joel wakes up, and he did not lose the petrification beam like I suspected. He's still nervous around girls, and he's still an utter jerk, announcing that even though it only worked one time, this is all he needs to figure out exactly how it works to figure out the contraption and get it up and running again. Because as he says, as a pro, I intend to tackle my assigned task until I can't work anymore, no matter how brutal the job. Which, again, he sounds cool sometimes, sounds like a jerk other times, and he's just, embarrassed in front of the girls. He's a fun character, and I freaking love him. And I love that his outfit wasn't, destroyed when he was petrified and unpetrified. A lot of people worried that when he unpetrified, his clothes would tear off his body and he'd be naked again. Thankfully, that was not the case. We then get an absolutely amazing shot of the mountain range, and I love the reference to Mount Tenmo. Zeno's like, what the freak is Mount Tenmo? Nope, we're in the Andes, Francois to explain. It's a Japanese proverb, basically signifying an obstacle that must be overcome to turn the tide of battle. I'm sure there's some historical significance behind that. But it is nice, just recognizing that Zeno and the rest of them come from two separate worlds. They have different beliefs, cultures, myths, symbols, and all that. I don't know, that's just a nice little detail right there. And then they kill an armadillo. Poor armadillo. Oh man, he looks so surprised to be shot by an arrow. Also, please just note that Hyoga keeps his mask on even while eating. You see the bones sticking out of it. What the frick is your problem, dude? I mean, seriously, that's just creepy. Anyway, then Dr. Chelsea proves her brilliance and that she is in fact the most utterly perfect person they could have for this job. And she explains that once they get over the Andes Mountains, they'll find a dense rainforest. And, people call out for that. Like, how could you possibly know that? You haven't even seen it. So she asks, well, answer me this. Back in Japan, I bet it's snowing a lot. Oh, you're right! How did you know that? Which then leads to a rather complex explanation about cold seawater, warm air, and how the whole planet is connected by science. Yay! So I'm going to believe her when she says that once they get over the mountain, they're going to find a very, very dense rainforest. Anyway, so next chapter, we gotta build a ropeway. Like I said before, I have no problem imagining that Kohaku alone get to the top of the mountain and then lay down a beam or something so that the other people can attach a rope to it and pull themselves up somehow, some way. I mean, I could say Tsukasa could do the same, but what's the deal with Tsukasa? Because he did not appear at all in this chapter. I mean, we get a one tiny little shot of him here. You can see the top of his head, but that's it. He hasn't really appeared at all since he was shot. So, I mean, I said before, I'm a little confused why that hasn't been a bigger point. I think it has been. We just haven't been aware of it. They've been hiding it from us for the purpose of a big reveal moving forward when it's revealed, oh, that he's seriously injured, that he his wound is infected, they have to find some medicine or some herbs or something to get to him to provide relief for him somehow, some way. I'm curious about that. But yeah, please let me know all this down below. What do you think of Senku's idea for a ropeway system? Do you think it's going to work? How? Do you think that Dr. Chelsea is secretly an evil, conniving genius who's controlling everyone from the shadows? Or is she just a silly little girl? I'm leaning towards evil genius just because I really want to be right. If it's revealed in like 20, 30 chapters that she's secretly working for the Y-Men, I'd feel absolutely amazing that I guessed it so early, with so little evidence. I mean, I guess that Luna was a doctor and that Stanley wasn't the pilot, so I'm doing pretty good with my crazy conspiracy theories so far, but we'll see. Let me know what you think of all this down below. Be sure to like and subscribe to the next video. And until then...
Peace!